All right, so welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to be touching on moving energy. And the reason why you want to move energy is so that way there is not stagnation. From stagnation comes a list of things that ultimately you do not want to endure. So moving energy, there's a lot of ways. We can do it with incense, we can do it with sounds, we can do it with plants, rearranging furniture, water, the list goes on and on. So we're going to touch on just a few today to help you with your spiritual practice, right? And also magical practice if you dabble in magic, because you have to remember that spirituality and magic, why they do intersect, they are quite different, just like spirituality and religion can intersect, but they are also separate. So starting off with the incense. Okay, you can buy so many different incense. This is personally my favorite brand. I think it is the best smelling one. So we have money, we have dragon's fire, we have dragon's blood, we have lavender, we have rose, we have nang champa, we have musk, we have sandalwood. The list goes on and on. Now, depending on your flavor, depending on the type of energy you want to call in that moment, will also play a part of the incense that you will use. Because lavender, yes, lavender is good for healing. Lavender is calming. Lavender is for sleep, but lavender is also really great for purification. And given that since lavender has a sweet smell, that is something that you want when you want to attract. When you want to banish, you will use something a little bit more bitter, a little bit more on the harsher side of things. But lavender is that two birds with one stone. Some other things to use as far as scent, as far as incense goes, is going to be some copal. And we also have in my handy dandy thing, if I can find it, well, Three Kings resin. Oh, here it goes. Three Kings resin. So Three Kings resins is going to be a mixture. Now, the two fundamentals when it comes to Three Kings is going to be frankincense and myrrh. Now, you will have some Three Kings resin blends that will use copal, or some that will use, I believe it's benzoate. It's a benzoate or benzoate. It's one of those. But another thing that you will notice is that in your Three Kings, they also have little lavender petals in here. So I don't know if you're able to see that. It's still showing my face, but you will have some lavender pieces in it. Okay, so get you some lavender. And to burn the resins, for those who do not know, because you've never burned resins before, what you're gonna get is charcoal tablets. I personally prefer the self-lighting charcoal tablet. It's so much easier, it's so much simpler than buying the charcoal tablet that you have to keep on a heated space. So this is the charcoal tablet. They also have some charcoal tablets that are made out of coconut, made with coconut, but either one works fine. So resins are really great to use out, not only just to clear out the energy, or incense, or even bundles, right? Whether it's chamomile bundles or chamomile bundles, however you say it. Sage, cedar, rosemary, all of those things are great for clearing out energy, moving energy, and also calling in whatever it is you're asking for. But when you are using things that you burn, okay, you want to make sure you hit the corners. Hit those corners and crack open the window. Okay, you want to do that because what sense does it make for you to try to move the energy but you are not letting it escape? You have to open your windows. If you have a screen on your door, open the door. Okay, so that is when you are using this. Okay, So the next thing on the list, as a matter of fact, this is something that does fall in the line of incense. If you are a person who cannot burn incense in your home, get essential oils. So here's some sandalwood. I have a list of other essential oils because they are extracted from the actual plant, from the herbs, from the trees. So this is a way to use it in your diffusers. If you do not have a diffusers, people like to do the simmer pots. That is another way as well. So no harm, no foul. If you can't burn resins, get you a diffuser or just burn this on the stove. My mom used to put Fabuloso on the stove and the house would smell amazing. So that's another way, but don't use Fabuloso. not for clearing out energy. Use something like pine sol, something like that, something with the actual oils, because that is what you want to use. So the next thing that is on the list is going to be flowers and plants. Flowers, plants, they can be used as protection in your home, right? They also bring a certain type of energy. They attract a certain type of energy, which is something that you want to have. So snake plants are really great for protection. You can use snake plants to cleanse yourself with. You can do a little limpias with the leaves of the snake plant. So, and placement is also very important. Like snake plants, it is very good to keep it at your front door, especially if you have constant company. Keep a snake plant outside your door, so the way cuts that negative energy. But plants are a great thing. Flowers are great to have in your home to attract a certain type of energy, because plants have their own spirit. Plants, again, have their own spiritual contributions. Okay, so when people look at roses, people automatically assume roses are for love. So people will fill up their home with a lot of roses because they want to attract love. And while that is one of the things that roses do, there are many more things. Roses are great for money. Roses are great when consuming it. Great for divination tea. It's great for enhancing your psychic abilities. When you're doing limpias, roses can be used to cleanse. Roses is a sweet smelling plant, right? It's a sweet scent. So it is good for attracting sweetness into your life. And what is sweetness? Blessings, right? That prosperity, wealth, and abundance that we was talking about earlier. Save your petals. As you can see right here, these are some petals from a previous bouquet. These are in the process of drying out. Now you can use them in your baths. You don't have to let them dry out completely. You can use them as is. But if you let them, see how crunchy this is compared to this, not really crunchy. These are drying out for sure, but they're not really crunchy. But you see how crunchy these are. These you can put in a blender and you can create your own incense with it. You can do so many things with the powder of roses. Taking roses and putting them actually by your window or at your windowsill is another thing to do for protection. So it's a lot of things that you can do with it. Now the thing, if you are going to use roses or any flower, you want to make sure that they are not molded, especially when you are drying them out. You don't want the mold. You want the flowers to, these are like the newest ones. You see how nice and looking that is. Now as they dry out, of course the color is going to change. They're going to get a little bit of dark. They're going to get darker and things like that. But let me show you what you don't want with your flowers. So let me go get that real quick because I saved it from last night. What you don't want is your flowers to look like this. You see how that is molded? Okay. You don't want that. You want to toss this out. And you may say, oh, what, can I just pick it out? This sweetheart is already gone. This thing is gone. There's no saving that. Toss it out. Okay. You don't want your flowers to look like that because, again, that is a list of things. It's an energy that you don't want, especially if you are placing flowers in your home with a specific intention. And if one of them is to protect you and again, spiritual correspondence. So the biggest thing when it comes to working with plants, when it comes to flowers, you need to know what they do. Because you can get you some lavender and be like, oh, I want lavender for love. That's not the spiritual correspondence to lavender. Even if that is your intent, that's not what it does. Okay. And the easy way to find this information out is by getting on Google or buying the books. And there are a list of books. Scott Cunningham is one of the books that a lot of practitioners will use when it comes to kitchen witchery and also just knowing what plants do, because in his kitchen magic book he talks about the spiritual properties of fruits, vegetables, grains, so on and so forth. And I want you to know that not everything is listed in one book. Sometimes you have to buy numerous books, or sometimes you just have to go talk to someone who's a little bit more experienced, and they may or may not share that information with you. But save your flowers, okay? Do some things with it. Checking to make sure there are none that is molded. Like that one has some on it. We don't want that. And yeah, so let's move on to the next thing. We're going to move this to the side. Oh, and now that I'm looking at it, some tobacco. Tobacco is something great to burn in your house, in as well as your property, if you can stand the smell of tobacco. Tobacco is really, really good for clearing out evil and negative energy. After you burn tobacco, burn something sweet. So burn some copal, burn some Three Kings, burn some roses. The list goes on. Burn something sweet after you burn tobacco. Okay. Now, to some people, tobacco is sweet smelling. Hey, do what you will. But after that, burn something that smells really, really good. Okay. So the next thing that is on our list is sound. Sound. Okay. Okay. You have this. Sound is a really great thing to have when clearing out energy. That music that your mom or your grandmother used to play on Saturdays and Sundays, yes, sweetheart, that's another way of using sound to clear out the energy. Being a spiritual practitioner does not have to be very loud. A lot of the things are done under the radar. Okay, singing songs, singing praises is another great thing to use. Right here we have a drum that I will use, and instruments are really great. Drums are great. Drums also have their own spirit because this is made with deer, so the spirit of the deer is here. There's different points, different quadrants. So okay, so this is a great way of clearing energy, right? Moving energy in the house. Outside of drums, something that a lot of people tend to have is going to be the sound bowls. Now, it does not matter if your sound bowls are crystal. If you wanted to have a crystal one, have a crystal one. Brass is also great because, again, brass has its own spiritual properties, just like crystals has its own things. If I'm not mistaken, most bowls are going to be made from either crystal or from brass. I don't think I've ever seen a singing bowl that was made from silver or gold or even steel. A lot of them are going to be made from brass. So doesn't matter which singing bowl. So if you have the set of 7, doesn't matter if you use the bowl for the root chakra or the crown chakra. It doesn't really matter in the what is it called? In just the task of clearing energy. It does not really matter which one you are using. Now, for those who do not have singing bowls or sound bowls, can you use the sound bowl meditation music that is found on Google? Yes, you can. When I use sound in my home, I definitely have a playlist. Now, you don't have to go the whole spiritual route when it comes to the using sound. And what I mean by that is it does not have to be native drum. It does not have to be sound bowls. If you want to play some Anita Baker, or if you want to play some Gorilla to get that energy moving, then do that. The whole thing is when using sound, you should feel happy, you should feel joyful, you should feel happy, you should feel like you want to move your feet when you are using sound, because you should feel that energy within you. So whatever gets you excited, whatever makes you happy, play that, right? I'm not going to tell you which artist to use and which artist not to use when doing your sound, because I know some people will say, oh, don't listen to Young Dolph when you're cleaning your house. If Young Dolph gets you hyped and gets you pumped, then play Young Dolph. I listened to 100 Shots not too long ago, and I ain't gonna lie, it definitely motivated me. It made me it made me happy. So by all means, do what is going to make you happy. Now, some other things when it comes to sound is I have a death whistle. And a death whistle is something that you will find in Mexico, and it is used to clear out evil. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it out right now and use it right now, but there's so many things with sound. So whatever cultural things you have, use that. If you have the big giant shell and you blow that in your house, go in every room, do that. Okay, do what honestly works best for you, because it is not a one shoe fits all when it comes to spirituality and working with energy and raising the energy, the vibrations, the frequency in your home. So the next thing is going to be water. I don't know if you guys can hear, but I have a water fountain. And a water fountain is great to have in your home or even outside your home, because it's constantly in motion. It is constantly moving. And depending on the placement you have, like having it next to your door or outside your home, it is catching that energy, that negative energy, that heavy energy, and it is moving it, which is what you want. You want the energy to be constantly moving. And there's some magical things you can do with a water fountain. But having water in your home, you'll see a lot of spiritualists have bowls of water placed somewhere in their home, and maybe the water is blue, maybe it's not, maybe they have salt in it, right? And they keep it by the door. Is because they're catching that negative energy, and then whatever festivity is over there, tossing it out to the wind, right? Water is great, and water has to be moving. Okay, another thing with waters, and this is going to touch more so into the spiritual bath aspect of things. Okay, so remember how I said we have the rose petals. You want more so the fresh rose petals when making spiritual bath, just like herbs. You can use dried herbs, just boil it beforehand, but fresh herbs is great. Because when it comes to the waters, you're going to have different types of waters, right? Different spiritual waters. So we have Florida water, most commonly used. We have orange blossom water. We have mint water. We have rose water. We have the different type of perfumes and colognes and all these different things to make a spiritual bath. And a spiritual bath, it is Olympia, nonetheless, it is Olympia, but it's Olympia that is using water. It is cleansing you. So spiritual baths, again, this is using the water aspect of moving energy. Because in my opinion, when you cleanse your home, when you are moving energy in your house, you also want to be sure to clean yourself. And I tend to take it a step further and make sure that I wash my bedding when I'm doing a spiritual bath or when I'm cleansing the house, and then I clean myself. I make sure that when I go to bed at night, I got a clean bed because I don't want to be sleeping in old energy. Now, I know I said that I was only going to touch on the few ways of moving energy, but I'm looking at some more things in my arsenal. And we have candles, okay? We have different candles here. And this is going to touch on the element of fire. Just like if you have a fire pit, that is a great way to cleanse yourself and also release and clear out things. If you have like a little fire. So I have something that I use to hold my charcoal tablets when I am cleansing it. You can use fire to cleanse your home. Now, that is a different type of level, so I do not suggest it for everybody, but candles are a great way of cleansing and moving energy. For beginners, if you are having guests over at your house and you want to make sure that that energy is right and you want to keep out certain types of energy, definitely taking some water and also having a lit candle by the door is one of the great things that you can do. So try that. I don't know if I touched on moving furniture. I don't think I did. But moving furniture is a simple and effective way of moving energy, rearranging, because again, it changes the flow of things. It changes the feng shui of things. So and it doesn't have to be that you rearrange your entire house, but it could be something as so simple as just moving the couch from one wall to the next, right? Or moving the chairs around, switching the chairs, right? Switching the placemats, moving the chairs around in your dining room. When it comes to your bedroom, maybe rearranging your dresser, moving something from left to right, those things. So moving energy, right? Changing the energy in the house does not have to be hard. It is not something that you have to buy a million and one things to do. So hopefully this video was able to shine some light and assist you with your regular spiritual practice, or if you're someone who is new to spirituality, new walking into your spirituality, hopefully this gave you some insight in letting you know that you don't have to do a list of things. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the energy moving, and you don't have to necessarily pay someone to come do it, right? You have the ability to do it. Now, if you want to pay somebody, by all means, trust me, because I definitely get house calls myself of going to other people's home to do it for them. But by all means, these are things that you can do on your own. Now, if there's an entity in your house and you don't know how to get rid of it, then call Ghostbusters, right? Call somebody to help you. But nonetheless, this is what you can do to just uplift the energy. You feel down, right? You feel a little gloomy. Move some things around, right? Move that energy. And these are ways that you can do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you feel as if there's something that I maybe sped through and you want me to elaborate a little bit more, go a little bit deeper into that topic, please comment down below. If you feel like there's something that I have left out completely, please comment down below. And while you are at that, please do not forget to like and subscribe to this video, and it'll be very helpful if you can share this with others. So you guys have a great rest of your day.